Hey guys, Alex here with Armadillo Armament. Something a little bit different for you guys today. Today, we are going to be discussing the drop test heard around the world from Ben Stoeger. This is going to be a very informal episode. As many of you may know, I just like talking about guns and talking about news, and this is actually pretty relevant to me as I am a 1911 and 2011 connoisseur, as well as I'm interested in purchasing the new Staccato C. So, when this topic came up on Ben's YouTube channel, I knew that I needed to get some more information on it, and I knew that I needed to share that with you guys. So, before we jump into the video, though, I do just want to give a quick shout out to my sponsor or my company that makes patches. Red Pawn Shop. If you use code Armadillo, you will get 5% off your order. He makes really cool quad nod armadillo patches holding MCXs. And for every single item in that order, he's going to remove 1 pound of junk from the ocean, as well as plant a tree. You're not only buying a really cool patch, but you're saving the planet. So it's a win-win. With that being said, let's talk about today's topic, and that is going to be Ben Stoeger, the 2011 platform, particularly the XC, the implications of it all, and then lastly, where my stance on it currently is. And I'm going to be going through this in chapters. The first chapter is going to be an introduction to Ben Stoeger. So Ben Stoeger is a absolutely phenomenal channel and a phenomenal shooter. There aren't many channels out there that I wholeheartedly trust for tips and tricks on learning how to shoot. Whenever anyone tells me to take a $2,000 night vision course or a $2,000 CQB course, I truthfully have absolutely no interest in doing so. The money I would rather spend on training would be putting towards a trainer like Ben Stoeger or like JJ Rakaza. They are absolutely phenomenal shooters that know their craft. Ben Stoeger does have a YouTube channel, and I'd recommend that for all of these sources and an Instagram, I recommend you look there, and I'll be telling you where to look in a moment. But Ben, now I sung his praises, now I need to take it down a notch. Ben is pretty good at kicking the bee's nest, right? Just recently talked about CZ's reliability, and famously in the past week or two, he dropped a Staccato XC onto the pavement, nose down or barrel down, and that caused a discharge. Let's talk about it. So on this date, I'm going to put a picture of the video right here. Ben dropped the Staccato XC onto the concrete. You can see this on his Instagram, and he fully documented this in a YouTube video and his Instagram. Immediately, everyone jumped into the comments and jumped onto forums, myself included, saying, wow, is the Staccato XC not drop safe? Now, it's important to realize what Staccato is. Staccato used to be a custom 2011 manufacturer. When they first came out, they really made competition guns and fairly custom guns. Not full-on custom, but they were a lot even tighter fitted than they are today. That's not a slight at them, that's just a reality of how they've changed over time. Staccato now, many people liken Staccato to the Glock of 2011's. That's not to say they're not phenomenal guns, but they're kind of like the baseline of the peak of like reliability in the platform, right? For about $2,500 to the XC, which is about $4,500, you are getting a phenomenal shooting tool, a shooting machine that you can use in competition and for duty. The word duty is being stressed right now because that is kind of the linchpin of this entire conversation. Ben has just recently purchased his Staccato XC, I think within the past month. I'll put a picture on the screen right now, and he's been going through the reps, putting a pretty large round count on and just evaluating it. At the end of his evaluation, he said, hey, the gun's pretty good. I had to change like the recoil spring to a heavier weight, which is a common complaint people have. However, it's a great gun. It seems like it's probably duty rated, but Ben just couldn't leave that alone. He had to drop the gun onto the pavement to test if it was drop safe. Lo and behold, it was not drop safe, okay? It discharged around into the concrete, or rather it was a primer. He didn't have a bullet loaded in, so it hit that primer and it indicated that it fired around. Like I said, this made its way onto forums and onto Reddit and onto other YouTube channels, myself included. Now, Let's talk about the 1911s and 2011s and why that may be a big deal and why that may not be a big deal. So Staccato uses what is called a Series 70 design in their 1911s and 2011s. There is a distinction between Series 70 1911s like so, and a Series 80 1911. Mainly, that is due to the firing pin block. Basically, in the 80s, a lot of companies, they wanted to add additional safeties to the 1911 to make sure it was even more reliable than it already was. Thus created the Series 80 1911 with the firing pin block. I'll put a picture on the screen of what that looks like right now. Now, the classic 1911, like so, and like, oh, I don't have my TSOS, like this TSOS, are Series 70 guns, and that is going to create a absolutely phenomenal trigger pull, right? Because it is a straight pull, the trigger pull on a Series 70 1911 is great. One common complaint about the Series 80 guns is just that the trigger pull isn't as excellent as the Series 70, and I'll be getting into that a little bit later on in the video. The reason I bring this up and the reason why this is so important is because Staccato bases its model off of the Series 70. And when this drama came out, one of the first things that I saw on YouTube and that I saw on like 1911 addicts, as an example, is people immediately jumped to the defense of Staccato and said, oh yeah, water is wet. It's a Series 70 pistol and therefore it's not going to be fully drop safe. And I'm here to kind of combat that. I'm going to be playing devil's advocate because they're not entirely wrong in saying that a Series 70 pistol is inherently not going to have that firing pin block and that it could potentially detonate that round if dropped completely on its muzzle. But once again, Staccato positions itself as a duty firearm. So why does all that matter? Well, Staccato is currently arming more than 1,500 agencies around the United States. It has become the new hotness in law enforcement and self-defense. Staccato greatly positions itself towards the competition crowd as well as the home defense and EDC crowd like myself, and once again, law enforcement. Now, the law enforcement aspect is one of the most damning parts of this argument, and that is if I'm going to be EDCing, and this isn't a Staccato, I just have a Series 70 1911 for demonstration, but if I'm EDCing a Staccato P or a Staccato C2 or their CS, if I had this in my pants, you would need the barrel to hit the ground at a high velocity with the barrel facing basically vertically down for there to even be a chance of that round really detonating, okay? As an EDC person, that's very rarely, if ever, going to happen. I actually can't imagine a situation where that would happen. But as law enforcement carries their pistol on their 3 o'clock, or I guess 9 o'clock if they're left-handed, wrong-handed. And let's say they are hypothetically trying to get the gun out of their holster and it either slips or a suspect knocks it out of their hand. Well, the gun is then going to, potentially tumble around in the air and it could land barrel down first on the pavement or another hard surface. Now, another comment that I've seen online is that if it is facing downwards into the asphalt, well, then the round's not going to go anywhere. Right? If the barrel hits the ground like so, the round's not going to go anywhere. It's either going to blow up the gun or it's going to embed into that asphalt or piece of metal. And while, that may kind of technically be true some of the time, that's not a guarantee. And second of all, if your gun flips out of your holster and fires a shot after making contact with the ground, congratulations, you have a gun that could have A, been severely damaged, or B, you now have a weapon that isn't in a condition of fire, right? Because the slide's very likely not going to cycle in that case as well, right? So no matter what way you spin it, in my opinion, this is a huge deal, especially for law enforcement. Now, once again, for the EDC crowd, for the past 70, 80 plus years, or actually since the inception of the 1911, we've known that under very fringe situations this could happen, but I would also like to speak to that right now. So I, like I said, am a 1911 connoisseur. I've taken apart Series 70 1911s 150 times, way more than 150 times. I can put a 1911 together I'm pretty sure without looking at any guides whatsoever, maybe some light Googling. But I'm very fluent in the platform. I have put tens of thousands of rounds through 1911s, and I'm only 27 years old. I didn't grow up with these things. I just know all this because I'm passionate about the system. And I feel like arguments online are in two camps a lot of the time. The first argument is, well, it's a Series 70, so it should be expected that this issue can happen, right? I've seen a lot of arguments of people kind of coping on forums being like, "Oh, it's a Series 70, water is wet, right? You should expect this. Like this isn't new news." I don't agree with that. The other camp of people are either people that are new to guns or people that are just kind of learning about this now, where they say if it is a duty gun, it should be drop safe. Now, personally, I believe if you are carrying a duty gun, that it should 100,000% be drop safe. And the reason I brought up my expertise a moment ago is, like I said, I have spent so much time on the venerable 1911 platform. I love this gun, and I have watched so many reviews from Sage Dynamics about 2011s and torture tests of people throwing these and dragging them behind trucks and banging them on everything. I have seen so many torture tests of the 1911, and I have never, ever heard of this being an issue. Now that this has kind of come to light, I've done a lot more research and I found some sources that say this can be an issue and some sources leading to like 40 years ago where they may have been able to induce this, but I have done hundreds of hours of research and video watching and speaking to people about the beautiful 1911 platform, and I never knew this was an issue, which once again, that crowd is going to jump in here and say, "Oh, well, you're an idiot," and yeah, maybe rightfully so. You probably know more about it. I was posting on the 1911 addicts, and I'll put a picture of my post right here in two parts. You can read the entire thing. Pause the video. And many people said it's a Series 70 that's to be expected. Um, First of all, I call bullshit. I don't think that 85% of the people that say it's a Series 70 problem, get used to it, actually knew that was a Series 70 problem. And second of all, whenever you watch videos online talking about the 1911 platform, you see like why should you carry a 1911, right? One of the first things I always see is them talking about safety and saying, I love the fact that I have a manual safety and I have a hammer that I can manipulate and I have a beaver tail safety. So I see all these people talking about safety, but now that there is a strictly unsafe thing going on with a modern duty firearm, now we're going to give it a pass. You see how I'm a little bit skeptical of people's not only opinions but their self-proclaimed expertise, right? I'm calling you out. I think you guys didn't know about this until right now, and now you're just trying to sound smart. Okay, but I digress. Now, I have full faith that I can throw this across the field and not have to worry about it going off. And I'm still very interested in the Staccato lineup, but this does potentially create a big issue for Staccato. Just recently, within the past year or two, a CZ Shadow 2 actually discharged and killed someone, killed a RO, a range officer, during a USPSA or IDPA shooting event. That is terrible news all around. No matter what way you put it, if the gun was fully drop safe, then that person would potentially still be alive today. It's no argument at all that a weapon should be drop safe, and especially a duty weapon should be drop safe. Now, that situation is a little bit differently. The weapon, to my understanding, was actually pretty heavily modified because they are competition guns, and a lot of competition guns aren't actually necessarily drop safe. It's also important to note that that one didn't land barrel down, otherwise the person, once again, would be alive. But it wasn't drop safe at the end of the day. And once again, that drop safety issue did cause someone to lose their life. So I did what I'd say a lot of people have done, and I contacted Staccato because I am very interested in the next Staccato C offering they're creating, which is kind of like a Staccato P, but a little bit shorter in every dimension and a little bit thinner. It looks really cool. I heard about all this drama. And I contacted Staccato earlier today after making forum posts and talking about it with a couple people online, as well as discussing it with a law enforcement friend of mine, which is incredibly worried as of right now. Now, Staccato answered my questions very well. Staccato told me, well, I called them and I said, hey, are you aware of the Ben Stoeger drama? Are you aware of, actually, I just said Ben Stoeger, and he said, yeah, the issue with the XC. So here's what's going to happen. I'm not going to be able to answer too many of your questions right now. We will have an official statement in the next couple days. We're taking this super seriously. Um, and I will add you to a list and I will give you a call back once we have a determination, once we know what we're going to do. And I respect that a lot. A lot of companies would kind of just brush it under the rug and say, hey, it can happen. Staccato sounds like they're taking the initiative, and I hope they take this very, very seriously. Now, I have seen some solutions online for firing pins. I have seen people say that the weapon will be a lot more drop safe if you have a titanium firing pin in your gun, or if you modify those pin springs, which I'm really hoping Staccato comes back with and says, hey, send in your pistol or send us a proof of you having this pistol and we'll send this out to you. Okay? Because once again, I'm not too worried about this going off in my pants. However, it's now going to be in the back of my mind at all times. And once again, if it is a duty firearm, which Staccato clearly positions himself as, I think the weapon 100% needs to be drop safe. I brought a couple other weapons out because I want to show, well, I want to further explain my point. This is my roll and special build. I carry this gun a lot. This is a fully drop safe gun. Glocks can be thrown a mile at 200 miles an hour and they're not going to go off. Or if a striker goes off, that is a very rare occurrence. I'm not saying things don't happen. Look at the P320, but I trust this gun with my life and I know that it won't go off with a drop. Let's go a little bit down the line in history, rather. SIG 226, the sidearm of the United States Navy SEALs. This gun is drop safe. It has endured so much testing that I trust my life to it. Let's keep going. The USP. I'm going to have a UTL coming in for it, which I'm very excited to give you guys a Metal Gear Solid type review on. But the USP is potentially maybe the most tested firearm in of all time, or at least for sidearms. This gun, I trust with my life. Now that all of this news has come out, I haven't found too many reviews of 1911s that have gone off with this issue. I'm really not able to find any videos of it. But once again, this is going to be in the back of my mind, and this is definitely in the back of everyone else at Staccato's mind and a lot of agencies. The representative on the phone informed me that he had received a ton of these calls, which is why he was so fluent in exactly what to tell me, and that he knows that people are worried. Now, I made a distinction and I said, listen, I know the differences between Series 70 and Series 80, but what can you tell me to make me feel better? And he said that a lot of people were in the exact same boat, that they have Staccato XCs through their department, that their department is now kind of evaluating since this, right? Their department is now worried about this drop safety issue, and honestly, rightfully so. So once again, I very much anticipate Staccato to come out in the next couple days with a statement with either a suggested fix like I mentioned, or at least with a comprehensive, detailed listing of exactly what could cause that issue and what we can do to potentially prevent it. Other than that, there hasn't been any other development on this, and I'm going to keep you guys up to date. This channel very much enjoys the 1911s and 2011s. I'll be having a video review on my Quantico high cap very soon. Here's a hint. I don't like it at all. We'll get into that. But I'm so fixated on the 1911 and 2011 platform that I figured I had to share this with you guys. And also, I just enjoy ranting to a camera. So if you guys enjoy this video format, this was very informal. I recorded this in an hour or two. If you guys enjoy this video format, please tell me. I'd love to talk with you guys more, maybe do like a Q&A in the future. And I will be keeping you guys up to date on this Staccato story. It'll likely be my next video. And also, please chime off down below with your opinions. If you are an expert in the 1911 and 2011, tell me down below what you've seen in the industry and what they could potentially do to fix this. Remember, I consider myself a 1911 enthusiast. I am not a armorer. I am not professionally trained in this. So if you have that experience, please chime off down below and educate myself and all of us in those comments. All right, once again, keep it classy. I'll catch you guys in the next video.